Today we visited Thanh Ha Pottery Village. Please excuse my poor pronunciation of the Vietnamese language, as it is so difficult, but we're learning. The Pottery Village is about 3 kilometers west of Hoi An, which is a little under 2 miles. And it takes about 40 minutes to drive there from our apartment in Da Nang. To park the motorbike, it cost 5,000 dong, which is about 19 cents, and each ticket per person was 35,000 dong, which is roughly $1.33 a person. They give you a map with your tickets, and it lists a few spots where you can receive a free gift. And my understanding from being in the Pottery Village is this experience here is the free gift. You get to come in and sit down and interact with these women and help make the pottery and get a feel for what it's like. And this was really enjoyable because at this time, it was very rainy the day that we went, and so there wasn't too many people there. So Jon and I were the only two in this interaction with these ladies making the pottery, which made it really special. As soon as we were done, a large group came in right behind us, and I was very appreciative that it was just the two of us in here with these women learning how to do their pottery. After you're done receiving your free gift of the demonstration here, the lady takes you behind the stools where the class is, and they have all of their goods there from their ceramic shop, and she wants you to buy something. And so we were just on the motorbike and didn't have very much space, and Jon ended up buying a really large coffee mug, which is great for sharing coffee in the morning. Hoi An is known as the ancient city, with history dating back to the early 16th century. And in the 17th and 18th centuries, Hoi An was a major international trading port, and their pottery was exported to places like Japan and China and Spain and all over, and it really became a staple for their craftsmanship in their pottery. Artisans from Hoi An were actually invited to create decorative features for the imperial city of Hue, and Jon and I plan on going and visiting Hue here in the next couple of weeks. There are about 30 households here now, around 134 people who've continued this tradition through multiple generations. And in 2019, the traditional pottery making of Thanh Ha Village was recognized as Vietnam's national cultural heritage. Where we're at now in this gardens is the Terracotta Park and Museum section in the Thanh Ha Pottery Village, and this is a separate entry fee. So if you wanted to go into this section of the Pottery Village, it is 50,000 dong, which is roughly $1.90. The park was designed by an architect who actually was born and raised in the Thanh Ha Pottery Village, and he studied architecture down in Ho Chi Minh City and became successful, and then came back and built this as a way to give back to his community, and it opened in 2016. The whole design is inspired by traditional pottery kilns. There are 2 main buildings. One represents an upside-down kiln and houses the historical exhibits and ancient pottery artifacts, and the other represents an upright kiln and displays contemporary work from the Pottery Village and other famous pottery villages like Bat Trong and Phu Long. What sets this place apart from the other pottery villages in Vietnam is that they've kept the traditional methods alive. Everything here is still made manually. As you saw, they use foot power or hand power. No molds, no electric tools, just the artisan, the clay, and the centuries of passed down technique. Jon and I were the only people in the museum, which made it really enjoyable for strolling around and taking our time, looking at all the exhibits and all of the art and the old pottery. They don't have anything dated, so you know how old everything is, but obviously it's old. There is so much rich history here. It is absolutely incredible. There's an informative video playing behind me, but it's all in Vietnamese, so I don't know what they're saying. I guess I was too tired to notice when I was there that the subtitles were in English until I was editing this video. So I supposedly could have figured out what they were saying, but I did not. So, for another time. Close by here to the Pottery Village, they have the remnants of the Misan Temple, which was discovered accidentally underneath a bunch of trees and brush. Nobody even knew that it was there. In 1898, during the French colonial period, French troops stumbled upon the ruins, bringing them to the attention of the wider world. And the temples, built by the Champa people from the 4th to the 14th centuries, fell into disuse and were overgrown by the jungle after the Champa kingdom declined. And it was just a happenstance that it was found, and thank goodness for history. In 1999, UNESCO recognized Misan as a World Heritage Site for its cultural and architectural significance. Hao Sa is a significant archaeological site near Hoi An, and this here is a reconstruction of what it was like when it was discovered. And it's known for its burial jars from around the 1st to the 2nd centuries AD from the Sa Huan culture, which actually predates the Cham kingdom. This specific site was excavated in the late 1980s and early 1990s, specifically 89, 93, and 94. The artifacts that were found were numerous burial jars, pottery, including Cham and Chinese styles, glass, gemstone accessories, housewares, tools, and iron weapons. The Hao Sa burial site is primarily identified with the Sa Huan culture. The presence of early Cham pottery and artifacts signifies that these burial grounds were used as the Sa Huan culture transitioned into the powerful Champa kingdom, the Cham people, that later flourished in central Vietnam, with Hoi An becoming a major port during the Cham period. There is an abundance of knowledge to know about the history of Vietnam. However, while traveling around, there is not very many displays of information, which is why it's highly recommended to take a tour guide to most places. And Jon and I will be planning on participating in a tour group when we go to the Misan temple, so that way we can really understand all of its history and walk away with a much better understanding of what the temple and the Cham people were all about. There are 33 models total, 22 global landmarks, 11 Vietnamese ones, including the Japanese covered bridge, which is right here in Hoi An. Everywhere I've been in Vietnam, they love to make scaled models of other famous places around the world, and this here is called the Miniature World. It's basically famous landmarks from all around: the Taj Mahal, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Sydney Opera House, the Egyptian pyramids, even the White House. This here is a scale model of Angkor Wat, which is in Cambodia, and Jon and I plan on going to visit there also probably in the next month or so. It's been a hard couple of weeks. We've both been sick on and off. Our apartment isn't exactly comfortable. There's nowhere to sit that's relaxing, and the bed is a bed, but it is not comfortable on the shoulders or the hips or the neck. And while we planned to go to the Pottery Village to spend the afternoon, while we were here, Jon decided to surprise me and book a room in downtown Hoi An, the ancient city, to hopefully allow us to get a restful night's sleep. And it was raining heavily that day, and to avoid driving 40 minutes back home in the rain, he booked this lovely loft. This room was absolutely adorable, and ironically, I still couldn't sleep very well. Not that that's very surprising. And also, at 7 a.m., the construction outside was so loud. It was comically loud. But despite not being able to sleep well, the bed was much more comfortable, and it was enjoyable to just kind of get away from the apartment where I've just been in my head a lot. I'm still figuring out the future. I'm still processing everything that happened this year. I'm still learning how to live in a place that doesn't quite feel like home yet. Living abroad, dealing with the hard things, trying to figure out the future, it's all still there, but so is this. The small gestures, the quiet evenings, and the person who notices when you need something to change. You can't just go home. You can't fall back on the familiar. You're kind of forced to sit with everything while also trying to figure out basic life things in a place where you're still learning the rhythms. It's exhausting in a way that's hard to explain. I think when you're going through hard things, it's easy to forget that you need these small acts of care, that sometimes you can't just push through. You need to step away, reset, let someone help you carry it for a bit. Thanks for being here with me through all of this. I'll see you in the next one.
Am I supposed to drink my broth with my chopsticks?
Yeah.